Hey guys and gals, welcome to my channel. It's Tommy B live in Grand Isle. We had a little warm spell come through and temperature got to about 70 degrees and started catching a few trout around the island, believe it or not. We in March, so last year I think I caught the first limit on the island around late March, and then it got better as April went, and then of course May, June, July it was awesome during the spawning season coming up with speckled trout. The redfish, if y'all saw my last video, redfish at Fourchon and Belle Pass, that's the pass that comes out where all the big boats come out of Fourchon. The next pass going west from Grand Isle, about 8 miles down the beach. We're gonna talk about that on another video. Right now, I wanna give you a little bit of news. Wildlife and Fisheries on Elmer's Island is going to be doing a shuttle on Elmer's Island. So great news for all you guys that like to fish the beach, which is many people like to fish the beach when the trout start spawning. They get on that beach at Elmer's Island and Fourchon Beach. But you'll be able to you turn on the third small bridge coming onto the island, you're going to see the sign Elmer's Island. If you turn there and go all the way down to the end, they did a lot of repair work. They made a couple kayak launches. Good news for people who don't have a motorized boat and just want to fish on the side or out of the kayak. And also, they're going to be doing a shuttle. So you park, what I'm assuming is you park, and then they bring you down, back and forth down the beach, which a lot of guys had to walk all the way to the Gorilla Hole. So I'm thinking they might take you to the Gorilla Hole in the corner where the pass comes in, that Caminada Pass, and you can fish there. And they bring you back. So you won't have to carry all that or go down there with a bicycle. So that's great news. You can go to my Facebook and read the article about the Wildlife and Fisheries, what they've done there at Elmer's Island. What I want to talk about today is wind direction. You know, most people think, well, when they're facing towards the Gulf, that's the south. And in Grand Isle, the land changes. It turns. The island is at a different angle. So south is really not directly offshore. It's more right. East is more left towards Venice. So I'm gonna kind of go over that with you and give you some ideas on how to protect yourself, because we have wind probably 50% of the time in the summer, and in the whole year, probably 70% of the time, there's some wind from 5 to 15, 20 miles an hour. So if you're out here coming to fish, you drive a long ways, you wanna be able to protect yourself and get in a place where the water's clear and you have a chance of catching some fish in some good water. So I did this whiteboard. It's not the best, of course. I'm not a great artist, but I did the best I could. And you're gonna see when I go over this with you, you're gonna see the, let's see if I can get this. Let's start off to the right side over here where you see where it says south. That's the wind direction is coming towards the island. See those rocks right there? This is Caminada Pass. I got some bad handwriting too. And these are the Caminada Pass rocks that I like to fish, marked in those red dots right there. They stick out into the Gulf a little ways. And then there's some new rocks where they repaired the beach behind Bridgeside. And those are silted in mostly with all the stuff they put, but in the front of those, they do have some place to fish. And maybe this one here, the last one, will have about 5 feet of water in front of it. Maybe these two, but these two is pretty shallow. I went there, real shallow. But you wouldn't want to fish there in a strong south wind or strong east wind. You wouldn't want to fish anywhere in the Gulf. This is the state park. This is the rocks in front of Grand Island State Park towards the east. This is Barataria Pass rocks here. You wouldn't want to fish there in the front on a strong east or south wind or southeast wind, okay? Because you get beat up by the waves. You would want to fish behind the island. On these rocks on Fifi Island, which would be a little island right down here. See, I marked it, Fifi Island here. You come around by Sand Dollar. You can launch at Sand Dollar. Have the Sand Dollar rocks here. Those would be protected during the strong south wind or southeast wind or even the east wind. Phi Phi Island has rocks all the way around it. You would be protected there. Shrimp in a Cark, most people use around Phi Phi in the spring. And then those little scattered islands behind there, they're pretty protected too, if the wind's out of south, southeast. And that oyster, they got an oyster farm on that island here that's about near the bridge. When you come into the crack, what we call the crack. And then there's all these rocks here behind Cheniere, and they're all protected in a south, southeast wind. So that's where you would want to be fishing. Wildlife and Fisheries has some good rocks right here. You can fish all those places. I'm a rock fishing fool, so that's why I'm talking about rocks, okay? Now, if the wind's blowing out the north, I like to fish in the Gulf, which would be here at Barataria Pass rocks, State Park rocks, rocks along the beach at Grand Isle. Maybe these rocks up front, these new ones, depending on how deep it's going to be, we'll see. And then the Caminada Pass rocks, of course. So all of those will be my spots, and Fourchon. We're going to talk about Fourchon on another video. I'm going to draw it out and kind of show you how I fish Fourchon and Belle Pass. But if you have any questions, please leave them on here about wind and directions. And now, no, I didn't talk about a west wind. On a west wind, I probably, if it's stronger than 5 miles an hour, I stay and cook. I don't go out fishing. The west wind in Grand Isle seems like it messes up everything. So maybe on a west wind, these rocks in front of the state park would be protected. Those might have some clear water, depending on how strong the west wind is. So that's my little rendition of the island, and it gives you kind of an idea. And this is Bridgeside. Those rocks go in Caminada Pass in the summertime, late in the afternoon. A lot of people catch a lot of speckled trout along those rocks with just a shrimp and a Cark right here. I see them in the pass fishing right here. Not just my rocks where I fish at, but all of these rocks are good in the summer. And all of these up front, you just have to bounce around until you hit a little school of trout, or if you like to catch redfish and trout just mixed in everywhere. Drum, sheephead. So that's kind of the idea of Grand Isle. And of course, if you go in the bay, you got other places in the bay. I don't go a lot in the bay. I mainly fish Grand Isle and Fourchon. I like to fish the rocks, the Gulf, the currents. Of course, I like this with the incoming tide here, or even now on an outgoing tide, a not too strong outgoing tide, the Barataria Pass rocks, I like to fish there. I like to fish these rocks, incoming, outgoing, probably outgoing a little better. The ones in front of the state park. And if you fish in this oyster form, right here, incoming tide is good. Tide's coming against those oysters. And you can see those things on a low tide, but they mark, so be careful. They mark. And if you want to fish the beach, kind of like I was talking about Elmer's Island on Grand Isle, you can go to the state park and put a tent out here, and you can wade out to these rocks, but it gets pretty deep, about 7 feet of water. So be careful on some of those rocks. It gets real deep. I wouldn't get on top of them. It's too dangerous. Be careful of the currents. But there is a lot of fish on both sides of these rocks, because these rocks are far out here. They go far away from the beach. And in August, it's full of crabs along that whole beach. So just a little tips and information. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to talk, about Fourchon but this is spring coming up, guys. So this is why I wanted to do this, because we're coming up on spring. So things are going to get heated up on Grand Isle. I'm thinking, this month, April, for sure. Mid-April last year, I was in full swing. I was catching pogies and fishing with live pogies. So we'll see. That February is tough. March is a little easier, and April and May usually get going really hot. So stay tuned and get your friends to subscribe. And this information that I'm talking about, protecting yourself with land, like getting behind the island or getting on the other side of the island, you can use that anywhere. It doesn't have to be just on Grand Isle. You look at the wind finder, see where the wind's going to be blowing that day, and you fish and protect yourself. So you're not fishing, casting into the wind. You want to cast downwind. Let the wind be your friend. You always want the wind to your back. You don't want to be casting against the wind. I see so many people doing that. So many mistakes are made out there, and I'm going to try to help you prevent those mistakes. So stay tuned, and let's have some fun, catch a lot of fish, and tight lines, and Sammy V reporting live from Grand Isle with tips and information. So stay tuned and get your friends to subscribe, and let's see if we can't get, I need to get a drone here, so I need to make a little money. Help me make a little money, I'll get a drone, and we can have some even better shots. Can you imagine a drone sitting on top of those speckled trout, those pogies, live pogies, free line at the top of the water where you can see that big trout coming after him with the drone on top? That's what's coming if I can budget it. So stay tuned and bring it and share it with your friends. Come on, guys. That's my great chalkboard. If you got any questions, please leave them in the comments section.